Sue Kopin-Katzef. It's a great name, isn't it? It's got a rhythm, a certain je ne sais quoi quality to it. The only thing more special than the name itself is the person attached to it. For 2 decades, Sue Kopin-Katzef poured her heart and soul into her job as the Capital News Service Bureau Director at the Merrill College of Journalism at the University of Maryland. As an adjunct professor at Maryland myself there the last few years, I had the opportunity to watch Sue up close and personal. I would go to her office to watch her in action, ask questions, and try to learn from the master. My conclusion, Sue is the real deal. Her formula was simple. It started with a very strong belief and foundation in good journalism, mixed in with a great ability to teach and relate to students. Throw in some tough love, and voila, you've got yourself a Sue Kopin-Katzef. Her impact on the world of journalism can be seen all over. Dozens upon dozens of her proteges are practicing what they learned from their guru in newsrooms all across the country. If you don't believe me, let's hear from some of them now.
Hi, I'm Michael Stern. I'm one of the hundreds of students Sue Kopin-Katzef has taught during her 27 years teaching journalism at the University of Maryland. 27 years? Well, that's a long time, long before I was born. But even before that, she was a reporter at WJZ, MPT, and WBAL Radio.
Sue Kopin, March 23rd, 1979. There's more bad news for your pocketbook today.
She started at WJZ in 1979, and let's just say it was a different time then.
God, I can only imagine what the newsroom was like 30 years ago.
Were there computers?
But I can't imagine if I didn't have a cell phone, like how I would get in contact with her, like, oh, let me go find a payphone or something. I don't know.
I'm sure they didn't have studio lights, so they just had to light a bunch of candles.
Like Facebook wasn't even a thing back then.
They used to not edit like on a computer. They used to like, I don't even know. I don't know if that was 30. I think that was within 30 years, definitely. So like, you know, just developing your film and like, I don't know.
Sue went on from WJZ to WBAL Radio and Maryland Public Television. And then in 1989, she caught the teaching bug.
Sue is so supportive. I feel like I have so much to learn from her, and I feel like she's such a good role model because of the things that she's done.
She really cares about her students, not only on an academic level, but also on a personal level.
I felt so much care and so much passion just walking to the newsroom every day, and I could tell she really cared about me as an individual.
She started as an adjunct, and then in 1999, she moved into a full-time position. 10 years later, Sue was appointed the head of the Broadcast Bureau of the Capital News Service.
Sue is sort of everybody's favorite cheerleader, godmother, yenta, confessor, just all around enthusiastic student supporter. She's like, if this were a Cub Scout troop, she'd be the den mother.
I see our students on TV all over the DC area all the time, and most of them, or many of them, went through Sue at some point.
Sue is responsible for training young journalists from around the country.
There's nothing that I can say that will explain the lives that Sue has touched while at the University of Maryland. Whether it be her candy jar, her adorable dog Mazda, or just her immense joy, the impact that she has had is immeasurable. Sue, I remember when I started at the University of Maryland, you were my school mom. You always asked me how much sleep I got the night before, if I had done my homework, the normal things that a mom would do, and I would always tell you the truthful answers until the truth got to be too bad. Over the past 4 years, we formed a connection. I know I can come to you with any problem, personal or professional, and you'll always help me out. It might even just be a look that you give me, and I'll know what I have to do. And that connection, I know, will last a lifetime. And I know that that's the connection that you have formed with many of your past students, but don't just take my word for it. Let's hear what some of the working professionals that you have taught over the years have to say.
Sue was always one of my favorite teachers, but since I've graduated, she's just become a fantastic mentor and friend.
You helped me to find a new direction. You helped me to find a renewed sense of confidence in myself.
I would not be standing here had it not been for you.
Sue, as I stand here ready to record another package after anchoring and recording another segment for a different newscast, all I can think of when I think back at Maryland and of you, I think thank you.
You give the personal attention to all the students that you have. I think we all appreciate that more than you'll ever know.
I remember one day in class you played a tape of you questioning a police PIO. He was telling you the facts and you finally said to him, "This doesn't add up." And it just stuck with me because it taught me to be tough, but also fair.
You have been an amazing teacher and mentor to so many people over the years, including Melissa and myself.
I cannot emphasize enough how much Sue has had an impact on my life.
There is no way to understate the impact that Sue has had on my career.
We're proud to have learned from you, and we continue to learn from you.
She really helped me and pushed me so much. She's always been there for me, not just at my career at Maryland, but also throughout my career in the professional field.
I thank you so much for helping me to get to this spot.
Thank you for all you've done for me and for so many other people.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for everything you've given me, Sue.
But also, thank you for turning students into journalists.
Congratulations, Sue, and thank you for all you do. We love you.
See what I mean? It was my great honor to have nominated Sue Kopen-Katzev and to now present her with the prestigious NATAS Board of Governors Award, which represents truly outstanding achievement and unique accomplishment of some duration and durability. Sue, the stage is yours.
Thank you so very much for those incredibly kind words. I'd like to start by giving a big thank you to the NATAS Board of Governors and in particular to Joe Yasharoff, who nominated me for this prestigious award. I am truly overwhelmed that this Maryland Eastern Shore native who grew up in the country outside of Denton in Caroline County should be honored this evening. There are a number of others to whom I owe many thanks, and it starts with my late parents, Phyllis and Frank Kopen. Not once did they ever question my career choice, thank goodness. Although to be honest, my first career choice, as some of you do know, was to become a nurse. I could never, though, have survived those science classes. Thankfully, my journalism career has been a long one, going back to the 7th grade when I signed up for a journalism elective because I like writing and current events. The teacher of that class, Suzanne Gehring, ended up as my journalism advisor all the way through my senior year of high school, making a huge difference in my life. It was she who also got me involved in radio in the 11th grade at a small daytimer in Easton and Talbot County, where I first became a participant and then the producer of a high school public affairs program. It was she who planted and reinforced those important early journalism principles and ethics. It was Suzanne Gehring when I was editor-in-chief in 9th grade and editor-in-chief in the 11th and 12th grades who supported my efforts to challenge convention and make a difference. The issues were different and much more simplistic back then, but convincing a school administrator to change policy was still not easy. In fact, with my advisor's support, I went over the head of my high school principal to ask the superintendent of schools in my junior year to permit our newspaper to become independent by allowing us to sell advertising. The superintendent was fine with the idea. My principal, not necessarily so much. Once the principal got word from the superintendent about the change in policy, the principal called me to his office, and without really ever discussing the issue, he lectured me on the importance of going through proper channels. After I left his office, I smiled, knowing that a journalist sometimes has to find their own path. For me, my goal had been achieved, and it was an important lesson learned for the future. It was also Suzanne Gehring who backed me when I pulled together my very first all-day journalism conference as a high school senior. I was able to get the Baltimore Sun to support the effort as well for what became the first ever Eastern Shore-wide student journalism event at my high school. And keep in mind, there was no internet in those days and no mobile phones. Everything had to be coordinated by snail mail and costly long-distance phone calls. It was a challenge, but we made it happen. To me, Suzanne Gehring is proof of how one individual, in this case, a high school newspaper advisor and English teacher, can have a lifelong impact on the lives of others. I also owe a huge thanks to several of my University of Maryland WMUC radio station family members who during my first 2 years at the station set a very high bar when it came to professionalism, creativity, dedication, and a belief in making the impossible happen, all for a carrier current station with limited audience reach. I pretty much lived at the station starting my second semester freshman year. I would not have had the career that I have had without that experience and the friends and colleagues there. Those individuals, incredibly talented students who went on to impressive careers, included WMUC station manager Mike Collins, now a hugely successful public radio talk show host in Charlotte, North Carolina. WMUC program director Jay Kernis, currently producing for CBS Sunday Morning by way of many years previously with NPR, 60 Minutes and a stop at CNN. And Peter Doherty, my WMUC news director, who spent his career with ABC News in Washington before retiring recently as the Bureau's senior operations producer. The lessons I learned from them during those early years: work hard, but we loved what we did, so it was never really actually work. Never turn down an opportunity to learn something new. Don't take yourself seriously, but take what you do very seriously. And don't risk ruining your reputation. As all of you know, this is a tough business. What we do can and often will test our patience, our endurance, and our dedication. But make no mistake, what we do can and often does make a difference, perhaps with one life, and in some cases, many lives. With my many years of teaching at the University of Maryland's Merrill College, 10 as an adjunct, 19 full-time, I wanted to share with our students my passion for reporting and drive home the importance of an awesome responsibility for serving the public, and as well encourage them to find their own voice and a way to have fun when the opportunity presented itself. Every moment I could, I turned into a teaching moment to remind them ethics and principles do matter. Facts absolutely matter. And whatever you do, don't be that reporter who tells your news director at 3 p.m. on your way back to the station that you want to put your story off, happens to be the lead story for that day's newscast, so that you can take a little more time to do it right. That was a conversation with a student that didn't go well, but it was a lesson learned. The story, by the way, did still be our lead for the day, and that reporter did get a chance to present the story in a way that he had hoped, and he did it very well. And that reporter now, well, he's in his second job in a top 40 market. And with our long-running NATAS program, FaceTime with the Pros, we've been able to give students from around the region the chance to get some critically important exposure, insight, and experience by working with pros from stations throughout the area. I truly believe it is important to give back and where and whenever possible, lend a helping hand along the way. You just never know what kind of difference you might make. That's truly all I've ever wanted and tried to do. Make a difference and practice what I preach. And if you don't mind, one final thank you to my husband, Bill, who has indulged and supported me throughout. Again, I am so honored to have been selected to receive this year's Board of Governors Award. Thank you so very, very much. And congratulations to all of tonight's Emmy winners.